Hi friends! We have a brand new amazing video on what did dinosaurs actually look like. Therefore, like the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel before it starts to see more. Science is prone to interpreting new findings within outdated frameworks, and nowhere is this more apparent than in the way early paleontologists of the 19th century attempted to reconstruct the appearance of dinosaurs. Iguanodon, Megalosaurus, and Hylaeosaurus were among the first dinosaurs to be publicly presented in 1854 at England's renowned Crystal Palace Exposition. These dinosaurs were depicted with splayed legs and greenish, pebbly skin, much like modern iguanas and monitor lizards. The assumption was that since dinosaurs were lizards, they must have appeared to be lizards as well. After then, dinosaurs were consistently portrayed as greenish, scaly, reptilian giants far into the 1950s, in films, novels, magazines, and TV shows. True, in the intervening years, paleontologists had discovered a few crucial facts. Dinosaurs' legs weren't splayed, instead, they were straight, and their formerly enigmatic claws, tails, crests, and armor plates had all been assigned to their generally accurate anatomical positions, a far cry from the early 19th century, when, for example, the spiked thumb of Iguanodon was mistakenly placed on its nose. Did dinosaurs have green skin? The issue is that depictions of dinosaurs by paleontologists and paleo-illustrators have remained largely unoriginal. Because they are smaller than most other terrestrial creatures and must blend into the backdrop to avoid being seen by predators, modern snakes, turtles, and lizards are frequently brightly colored. There is no logical reason why dinosaurs, who ruled the land for well over 100 million years, couldn't have had the same vibrant colors and patterns as modern megafauna mammals, such as the spots of leopards and the zigzag stripes of zebras. The contribution of sexual selection and herd behavior to the evolution of skin and feather patterns is now better understood by paleontologists. It's entirely plausible that the enormous frill on Chasmosaurus and other ceratopsian dinosaurs was vividly colored, either continuously or occasionally, both to indicate sexual availability and to outcompete rival males for the right to mate with females. Hadrosaurs and other herd-dwelling dinosaurs may have developed distinctive skin patterns to aid in intraspecies identification. Possibly the only way a Tenontosaurus could tell which herd a different Tenontosaurus belonged to was by observing the breadth of its stripes. What shades did dinosaur feathers come in? The vividly colored feathers of contemporary birds provide another compelling piece of proof that dinosaurs weren't exclusively monochromatic. Birds are among the most colorful animals on Earth, sporting vivid reds, yellows, and greens in a riot of patterns. This is especially true of birds that dwell in tropical habitats, such as the rainforests of Central and South America. You may anticipate that the same logic would apply to the tiny, feathered theropods of the late Jurassic and Cretaceous periods from which birds originated, since it is essentially a done deal that they are descended from dinosaurs. Paleontologists have recently been successful in extracting colors from the preserved feather impressions of dinosaur birds like Sinosauropteryx and Anchiornis. Unsurprisingly, they've discovered that these dinosaurs' feathers formerly had a variety of colors and patterns, just like modern birds do. Of course, the pigments have now faded over tens of millions of years. It's also possible that some of the pterosaurs, which were neither dinosaurs nor birds but instead lived in South America, were colorful, which explains why species like Topachuara are frequently portrayed as having toucan-like features. Some dinosaurs were just very boring hadrosaurs, ceratopsians, and dinosaur birds are likely to have displayed elaborate colors and patterns on their hides and feathers, but the situation is less clear-cut for larger, multi-ton dinosaurs. Giant sauropods like Apatosaurus and Brachiosaurus, for which no evidence, or presumed requirement, for coloring has been adduced, were likely the only plant-eating animals that were just gray and green. Large theropods like Tyrannosaurus rex and Allosaurus are among the meat-eating dinosaurs with the least evidence of coloring or skin patterns. However, some of their heads had brilliantly colored spots. Recent illustrations of dinosaurs. Ironically, many modern paleo-illustrators have gone too far the other way from their predecessors of the 20th century, rebuilding dinosaurs like the T-Rex with vivid primary colors, elaborate plumage, and even stripes. In the same way that not all birds in the globe are like Brazilian parrots, not all dinosaurs were vividly colored either. True, some dinosaurs weren't just plain gray or green. Carnivores had tongues that were flat and immobile, like crocodile tongues. Dinosaur tongues have historically been a mystery because soft, fleshy portions are rarely preserved in fossil form, but, by examining preserved hyoid bones, paleontologists have gained some understanding. Many animals have a hyoid bone that serves as the tongue's anchor, but the tongue's mobility or ability to move independently depends on the shape and intricacy of the bone. Dinosaur hyoid bones differ depending on the species. The majority of dinosaurs, including all carnivores, had straightforward tongues that mainly lay flat like crocodiles do today. Most likely, long-necked dinosaurs did not chew plants or dwell in swamps. Long-necked dinosaurs like the Brachiosaurus and Apatosaurus macintosh were vegetarians. However, it appears that they did not chew their food. This is shown by their teeth, which are shaped improperly for chewing, and by the way, they are built, which suggests that they would like to eat as soon as possible. Paleontologists later recognized their long-held presumption that these dinosaurs would have thrived and survived in deep, swampy waters was unfounded. They would have instead gently wandered the fertile floodplains. The Brachiosaurus would have had its nostrils on the front of its face, not the top, according to this latest re-evaluation. The anatomy of the Archaeopteryx suggests that it flew in short bursts. A significant turning point when dinosaurs started flying was the discovery of Archaeopteryx, commonly regarded as the first bird. There has been much discussion on the Archaeopteryx's ability to fly, but scientists at the European Synchrotron Radiation Facility believe they may now have an answer. Previously unknown features of the creature's anatomy, like the thinness of its bone's outer walls, have been uncovered via incredibly thorough X-ray images. The ESRF researchers discovered that the data compared best to contemporary quails and pheasants after comparing it to 55 modern birds, crocodilians, and pterosaurs. Although neither bird generally flies, they both occasionally do so. The Archaeopteryx appears to have behaved similarly. A dinosaur's potential feather count decreased with size. For a while, it was believed that theropod dinosaurs, a largely two-legged, predatory group, were the only dinosaurs with feathers. However, recent fossil finds in Siberia indicate that many different cultures may have used feathers. Dinosaurs that lived in warmer temperatures likely had fewer feathers than those that existed in colder climates because it appears that insulation was one of the primary purposes of dinosaur feathers. Large dinosaurs aren't thought to have needed these kinds of feathers much because larger animals have a harder time staying cool. Dinosaurs that were especially big and lived in warm climates might not have had any feathers at all. There may not have been much dinosaur plumage on heads and necks. We now have more information about dinosaur feather patterns because of the finding of an ornithomimus with feather and skin impressions. Like many dinosaurs, this ornithomimus had feathers that were organized similarly to how ostriches are now. The majority of its body was covered in downy feathers, except for its head, neck, and lower legs. Ornithomimus, like the ostrich, might have employed this peculiar pattern to control its body temperature. Pycnofibers that resemble fur have been discovered on pterosaur fossils. Pterosaurs were once believed to have skin that was scaly or leathery all over their body, like their dinosaur cousins. The fossil record, however, showed during the 20th century that a pterosaur's body would have had several areas that would have resembled fur. They were covered in pycnofibers, which are thin, strand-like, and fuzzy-like hair and have a composition similar to feathers. However, later discoveries indicate that some of the pterosaur's body parts may have had more intricate types of feathers with branching strands. This would be the first time feathers were discovered on an animal that wasn't a dinosaur or a bird if the discoveries are accurate. Early dinosaurs had flightless feathers. The distinction between a bird and a dinosaur progressively became less distinct as both species began to fly, although, throughout most of their existence, dinosaurs lacked flight feathers. Even though certain dinosaurs may appear to have had feathers, these animals weren't particularly aerodynamic. Paleontologists have now seen the structure of early dinosaur feathers up close thanks to their discovery in fossilized remains or amber. They appear to be quite straightforward, with a central shaft that is ill-defined and bendable. The feathers would be best used as decorative accents to draw in mates or maintain a normal body temperature. Tyrannosaurus rex lacked feathery skin. Many theropods, including tyrannosauroids, possessed highly feathered skin, according to discoveries made in the late 20th and early 21st centuries. Since the T-Rex fits into those criteria, many people hypothesized that it would have also had feathers all over its body. In a 2017 investigation, skin imprints from a T-Rex specimen were used to look for signs of feather support systems, but none were found. The feathers would only have been on their backs if they were a T-Rex. It's also conceivable that feathers served as a means of insulation for tiny tyrannosaurids only. Despite this, the argument continues. Feathers and other body parts are not often visible in the fossil record, but Yutyrannus huali was a large-bodied tyrannosaur with feathers. The Kaihongjiuji had rainbow feathers of various colors. A dinosaur fossil with the remnants of its feathers was discovered in or around 2014. Pigments that were discovered after disassembling the remains were examined under a microscope and found to be strikingly comparable to the iridescent neck feathers of contemporary hummingbirds. This implies that the dinosaur was called Kaihongjiuji, which means rainbow with the huge crest in Chinese, and that it possessed brilliantly colorful glossy rainbow feathers. These feathers were on the head, crest, and tail of the Kaihongjiuji, indicating that they were intended for display. The feathers were probably employed to entice a mate and scare off competitors, similar to how current peacocks behave. The melanosomes of the Anchiornis indicate monochromatic feathers. Although the Anchiornis, a primitive paravian that resembled both genuine birds and dinosaurs in some aspects, was only discovered in 2009, scientists already had a clear idea of what it looked like. Even though there is ample proof that Velociraptor had feathers on its body, the movies continue to show this dinosaur, among many other falsehoods, as having green, scaly, reptile skin. Jurassic Park is one franchise that has defied this gaudy trend. Certain things never alter. How was this video? Feel free to give your valuable feedback in our comments section. Also make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.